The Light Between Us, Part 1. Some memories arrive wrapped in sunlight. For Lena, her happiest ones always smelled faintly of fresh bread and lavender, and they were always full of laughter. She grew up in a little coastal town where summers stretched like endless promises. Her childhood house, a weathered blue cottage with a crooked porch swing, was the kind of place that felt alive. Wind whistled through loose shutters, waves hummed in the distance, and her mother's radio filled the air with old Motown songs. On Friday nights, neighbors drifted in, carrying casseroles or pies, and the whole block seemed to find a reason to sit around their backyard fire pit. Her family wasn't wealthy, but love was abundant. Her dad had calloused hands from fixing boats at the harbor, but he never came home too tired to scoop her up in a bear hug. Her mom, a school librarian, left sticky notes of encouragement in Lena's lunchbox. Little reminders like, "You can do hard things," or "Don't forget how bright you shine." Even her younger brother Jamie, annoying as little brothers were supposed to be, gave her glimpses of loyalty that stuck. Like the time she fell off her bike and he pedaled furiously all the way home to fetch Dad instead of laughing at her scraped knees. Lena's childhood felt stitched together by ordinary magic, the kind that sneaks up on you only years later when you realize how rare it was. By the time she was in her 20s, the cottage had become her compass, the place she returned to whenever city life weighed too heavily. The city was dazzling, but it was also demanding. After college, Lena landed a marketing job at a startup in downtown Boston. It paid better than she expected, and her parents cheered her on with pride. But the farther she climbed in the company, the more she felt the ground shifting beneath her. Deadlines stretched into nights, emails lit up her phone at all hours, and weekends blurred into spreadsheets. She told herself this was success. This was what ambition looked like. Still, she noticed how often she silenced her mom's calls with a "I'll call back later," or how her trips home shrank from long weekends to quick Sunday visits squeezed between meetings. At first, her parents didn't complain. They listened to her stories about clients and projects with eager smiles, proud that their daughter was building a life bigger than their small-town rhythms. But Lena caught flickers sometimes, her mom's pause before hanging up, her dad's voice a little too cheerful when he said, "We'll see you when we see you." She brushed it off. There would always be time. That's what she told herself. The turning point arrived one breezy June afternoon when Lena came home for her mom's birthday. She hadn't been back in nearly 3 months. The cottage smelled of lemon cake and sea salt, and the kitchen table overflowed with flowers from neighbors. Her mom hugged her so tight Lena almost laughed. "You made it," she whispered. Something about the way she said it, like she hadn't been sure, lodged deep in Lena's chest. That evening, they ate on the porch while the sun dipped low. Jamie teased her for forgetting how to crack open a lobster properly. Her dad told a joke so bad, even her mom groaned. And for the first time in weeks, Lena felt herself exhale. Really exhale. Later, as her mom blew out the candles, Lena caught the look on her dad's face, tender, proud, a little weary. She realized suddenly how much she missed this rhythm, how much she missed them. On the drive back to Boston the next morning, she thought about how fragile these moments were, how easily they could slip away if she wasn't careful. At work, no one cared about birthday candles or backyard fires. Success there was measured in hours billed and numbers reached. But that weekend planted something inside her, a quiet knowing. She started keeping a journal again, something she hadn't done since high school. At first, it was just venting about long days, but soon little reflections crept in. When did I last watch a sunset without checking my phone? Dad looked older this time. His hands shake a little now. I don't want to look back and realize I traded the wrong things. Her coworkers noticed changes too. She smiled more in meetings, even cracked a joke or two. She left at 6 sharp some evenings instead of 9:30, and when her boss raised an eyebrow, Lena just said, "I've got plans." She didn't explain that plans meant FaceTiming her mom while cooking the same recipe together, or sending Jamie ridiculous TikToks just to hear him snort laugh. The city still buzzed around her, but she carried a piece of the cottage inside her now. One night in late August, she sat on her apartment balcony watching the skyline glow. Her guitar leaned against the railing, an instrument her dad had taught her to play when she was 12. She hadn't touched it in months, maybe years. On a whim, she picked it up. Her fingers stumbled through rusty chords, but soon a melody took shape. Not perfect, not polished, but real. She thought of her mom's sticky notes, her dad's bear hugs, Jamie's loyalty. She thought of laughter around fire pits, lemon cake, lavender breezes. The song that came out wasn't about the city or the job or the grind. It was about home, about love woven through the simplest moments. And when she finished, Lena realized she was crying, but they were the good kind of tears, the kind that remind you you're still alive. For the first time in a long while, she felt certain of something. She didn't want to lose this. She didn't want to wake up one day and realize she'd let the light between her and the people she loved go dim. The next morning, she booked a train ticket home. Her promise to herself held strong for a little while. She visited her parents more often, sent Jamie late-night voice notes, even mailed her mom a handmade card with doodles that looked more like scribbles. Her mom texted back a picture of the card pinned to the fridge with a heart emoji, but the city has a way of swallowing promises whole. By October, Lena was managing 2 new clients, and her calendar looked like a mosaic of overlapping video calls. Deadlines crept closer, and expectations piled higher. It's a season, she told herself. Just a busy stretch. I'll slow down after this project. But there was always another project. Always another season. One Thursday evening, Lena's dad called. She silenced the phone mid-meeting, planning to call back. By the time she finished work, it was past 10, and she told herself it was too late. She'd try tomorrow. She forgot. The next time she remembered, she was already back home for Thanksgiving. Dinner that night should have been perfect. Her mom's stuffing, her dad's cheesy jokes, Jamie loudly arguing about football with their uncle. But Lena kept noticing the quiet moments in between. Her dad moved slower now, his hands trembling as he carved the turkey. Her mom excused herself twice to catch her breath, claiming the kitchen was too warm. Lena smiled, laughed, filled her plate, but underneath she felt a sharp pang she couldn't shake. She'd missed things, important things. Later that night, when everyone else had gone to bed, she sat with her dad on the porch swing. The boards creaked softly under their weight. "You've been working hard," he said gently, sipping his tea. "Yeah," she admitted. "Sometimes it feels like all I do." Her dad nodded. "That's good, in its way. But work doesn't hug you back when you're tired. It doesn't sit beside you when you're scared." Lena blinked fast. Are you okay?" Her dad smiled, faint but steady. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just don't wait too long to live the life you really want." The words sank like stones. She wanted to ask more, press deeper, but instead she nodded and hugged him tight before heading inside. Back in Boston, his words echoed in every late-night email, every empty takeout box littering her counter. What was the life she wanted? She used to know. She used to dream about writing songs, traveling, maybe opening a little cafe near the harbor where locals could gather. But now her life was slide decks and analytics, 15-hour days that left her too drained to play guitar, too distracted to notice the moon outside her window. When had she let herself drift so far? Her co-workers praised her dedication, her boss dangled the prospect of a promotion, and her bank account was healthier than ever. But she felt like she was sprinting on a treadmill, faster, faster, but never closer to what mattered. One night in December, she attended her company's holiday party. The rooftops sparkled with fairy lights, and music thumped through the speakers. People laughed, clinked glasses, and swapped stories about winter vacations. Lena smiled, mingled, even danced a little. But when she slipped outside for air, she found herself scrolling through her phone. Her mom had sent a video earlier, her dad singing an old Elvis song in the kitchen while Jamie accompanied him on guitar. The camera shook from her mom's laughter. Lena watched it 3 times. On the 4th, tears blurred her vision. She wasn't there. Again. "Everything okay?" her coworker asked, stepping onto the balcony. "Yeah," Lena lied, tucking the phone away. But the truth gnawed at her. She was missing the very life she wanted most. By January, cracks appeared everywhere. She woke up tired, went to bed restless, and sometimes forgot to eat dinner altogether. Her parents worried over the phone, but she brushed it off. Then came the snowstorm. A blizzard swept across the coast, burying her hometown in white. Power went out for a night, and Lena couldn't reach her family. She called and called, every ring pounding in her chest. Hours later, when her mom finally texted back, "All safe, fireplace and candles, cozy, don't worry," Lena burst into tears in her apartment. She should have been there. She should have been by the fire with them, not hunched over her phone hundreds of miles away. That night, Lena made another promise to herself, not just to visit more, not just to call more, but to choose differently, to live differently. The question was how. By spring, Lena's days blurred into each other like rain streaking down glass. The promotion her boss had dangled finally landed in her lap, along with a raise and a shiny new title: Senior Account Manager. Her colleagues congratulated her, champagne corks popped, and her inbox exploded with new responsibilities. She smiled through it all, but inside she felt nothing, or maybe worse than nothing. Empty. On a gray April afternoon, her mom called. Lena almost let it go to voicemail, but something made her swipe accept. Her mom's voice was soft. "Sweetheart, your dad had a doctor's appointment today." Lena sat up straighter. "Is everything okay?" There was a pause. Then, "They found something with his heart. Nothing life-threatening right now, but he needs medication and rest." Lena's throat tightened. She heard her dad in the background, joking about how he was finally getting a legitimate excuse to nap. Her mom chuckled, but the sound was thinner than usual. "I'll come visit this weekend," Lena said quickly. Her mom hesitated. "You don't have to." "I want to," Lena cut in, and she meant it. That Friday, Lena boarded the train with her laptop in tow, still answering work emails as the countryside flickered past the window. When she finally stepped onto the familiar platform, the smell of sea air wrapped around her like an old blanket. At the cottage, her dad met her at the door, his grin as wide as ever. But when he hugged her, she noticed how frail he felt. His heartbeat thudded unevenly against her chest. Dinner was simple, soup and bread, but it tasted better than any 5-star meal. They talked, laughed, played cards. Jamie teased her mercilessly. Her mom fussed over her dad, and for one night, Lena let herself just be. Later, after everyone went to bed, she lingered in the living room. Her dad's guitar leaned against the couch, the same one he'd played for decades. She picked it up, strummed softly, and hummed a tune. The notes wavered but steadied, filling the quiet house with something tender. Her mom peeked in, smiling through tired eyes. "He'll love hearing that in the morning." The weekend passed too quickly. Sunday afternoon came, and Lena felt that familiar tug of dread, the city calling her back. As she hugged her parents goodbye, her dad whispered, "Don't let the world steal you away, kiddo." On the train back, tears blurred the scenery. She wanted to scream at herself. How many more goodbyes like that would she endure before something irreversible happened? Back in Boston, she sat at her desk long after midnight, staring at the blinking cursor of an unfinished email. The walls felt too quiet, her chest too heavy. She opened her journal and wrote in shaky handwriting, "I don't know who I'm becoming. I'm losing the people I love most. What if one day they're gone, and I can't get the time back?" She slammed the journal shut, sobbing into her hands. The next week, her breaking point arrived. She was in the middle of a client meeting when her phone buzzed, Mom calling. She ignored it. It buzzed again, and again. Finally, she excused herself and answered in the hallway. Her mom's voice was tight. "Your dad collapsed while gardening. He's at the hospital." The world tilted.